Hello, this is Richard from MoneyScope. A question we often get asked is the difference between increase with inflation and adjust for inflation. So this short video will hopefully explain the difference between the two. First thing I'd say is whenever you go to create a client scenario, you can simply tick on these help icons and more information will come up for you. So for adjust for inflation allows you to adjust something that's going to start in the future to maintain its real value. Whereas increase with inflation allows you to specify when something starts to come in or go out, it will increase in line with the default or the specified rate of inflation. So let's show you some examples of how this works. This guy's called John and he's got a salary of £30,000 a year, which is going to be paid until age 65 and will go up in line with the default rate of inflation. So we'll add that back in. He's also got some loan repayments which are fixed at £10,000 a year, so they're not going up in line with inflation, and they're going to be paid for the next 5 years. So if we go through to the planning screen, we can see what this looks like in the future. Now the values in MoneyScope are always shown in today's terms, in real values. So here's the salary of £30,000 a year, and it's staying at £30,000 a year. And sometimes we get asked, well, why is that not going up each year when I've ticked the box to increase it in line with the default rate of inflation, which is 3%? Well, it's because it's maintaining the real value. So it's always going to be worth £30,000 a year. Looking at that another way, here's the loan repayments, which are not going up in line with inflation. So they're £10,000 in today's terms this year, but next year, although he's going to pay out £10,000, it's only worth £9,700 in today's terms. So inflation does erode the real value of debt. Let's look at that with the specific rate of inflation option. So let's just say John thinks his salary is going to go up by, let's say 5% a year, as opposed to the default rate of 3% a year. If we add that back in and go through to the planning screen, we see down here that in real terms, in today's terms, his salary is going up by 2% a year. So that's 5% the specified rate, less the default rate of 3% means in real terms, his salary is going up by 2% a year every year. So that shows the impact of those. So that's increase with inflation. The other option we've got is adjust for inflation. So here's a good example. He's going to get a state pension of £6,000 a year in today's terms at age 65. And we know the state pension is going to go up in line with inflation, so we've ticked the box here and we've selected the default rate and we've adjusted it for inflation. So this allows us to show when something happens in the future, will it maintain its real value or will it not? And we know the state pension will, so we'll add that back in there. He's also got a mortgage repayment, which is due at age 60 of £100,000. Now that's not going to be adjusted because it's just a fixed value at £100,000. So we'll add that back in and see how it looks. So here we go, at age 65, there's the state pension. We've adjusted it for inflation to keep pace with real terms. So it's still showing us £6,000 and it's going to keep that value in real terms because we've ticked increase with inflation, so it will maintain the value right the way throughout. Here's the mortgage of £100,000. Now because inflation erodes the real value, although he's got a right to check out for £100,000 at age 60, in today's terms, that's only worth £85,873. Let's just show you another option of that one. Let's just say instead of a state pension, John's got a level annuity. He's already bought it. It's £6,000 a year. We're going to adjust it to keep its real value at age 65, but it's not going to increase with inflation. So if we add that back in and go through to the planning forecast, we can see down here, there it is, 65. It's maintained its real value, it's been adjusted for inflation, but when it starts to be paid, it's not going to increase in line with inflation, so it will go down by the default rate of inflation each year in real terms. And if you drag the slider around, you can change the default rate whenever you like, and that's going to impact on the numbers inside here as well. And again, if you be a bit more optimistic about the default rate, it changes the numbers too. So that's the difference between increase with inflation and adjust for inflation, and we hope you find that a useful video, and please let us know if you have any more questions. Thank you for using MoneyScope.